Hi, greetings everybody. It's Wesley Pepper here. This is the Art Lexcia podcast. This is episode 93, which all of a sudden seems like such a big number. But yeah. So yeah, it's been, man. It's been. Just before we get into today's episode, so yeah, man, I think I mentioned in last week's episode as well that we're trying new platforms and new styles. I'm sure you can see the video quality for here is much better than last week too. So we are trying new things. So yeah,
definitely
bear with us with that regard. We're gonna get the video thing right because we have been listening to all the. I have been getting some what is it? Not crit, but like some. I say it can consider crit from a bunch of you guys. And thanks for that. On that point also, like thanks to all the new and returning listeners. Much love to that. Like we got a little family growing, and it's like it's really cool. And it's always cool to talk to you every single week, man. Just before we get into our new to this week's guest, Uncle Asa last week, my king. Thanks for coming through, and the shout out was really sweet. I think we'll be hearing from him, especially with regard. We'll probably do another type of TV team up in a few months or so because they're doing some cool stuff in that part of the world. But Siza, it's been like 38 degrees yesterday, I guess. But nothing is hotter than our episode there, than our recording here. So are you all right on that side?
No, I'm pretty cool, thanks. And yeah, the episode with Uncle Asa was quite inspirational, quite early in the morning. Oh my God.
Like 3 o'clock.
It was great and refreshing because, we were talking about self-identity and sort of creating our own economies and just the whole togetherness that Black people, Black family should aspire to. But yeah, it's been a long week. It's cloudy today. It's very windy in Kimberley, and the water sucks still, but we'll live. So great to be here. Thanks, guys, for all the feedback and the love. And please continue to follow us and continue the conversations that we have here on the platform. We are on YouTube at Lexcia, on Spotify, we are on Captivate, and yeah, let's continue connecting. And today I'm actually really, really excited about our guest, a Black man with an Afrikaans sounding name, Hoek Swarathe. Swarathe.
Yes.
Like
so actually the fun it was a thing that was put together like while I was growing up, like high school when you get like those nicknames like, you're Hoek fun, associating my name with Afrikaans, so like there's no fun like in my original name, like on my ID there's no fun. It's only Hoek Swarathe.
So but Hoek is your real name?
Yes. That's my real name. ID.
So where do you meet Afrikaans in your
well, let me just break it down. So the name Hoek, it was my great grandfather's nickname. So they just passed their name to me. So that's so how I got the name.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I mean, I think it speaks a lot to also like the work that you do. By the way, Hoek here, our brother, he's a photographer. And he's really doing a lot of amazing things. I mean, I think you're a beautiful storyteller in that you see things that we enjoy. It's humanity forget sometimes, like there are real issues, the real people on the street that are there, whether we like it or not. Wesley can tell you here in Kimberley, because it's a small town, like the homelessness, it's in your face. Like I had to adjust to that because I didn't see it so closely, so much. And that's what I sort of enjoy with your photography, storytelling, see the ordinary people. I mean, I contacted you after your exhibition on the 4Dladla. Can you tell me about that? Like, as in your whole storytelling thing, and why this viewpoint is important for you as an artist? as a photographer?
Okay. Okay. Well, the journey began, like, I think almost 2013, I think. But for me, it was just a hobby, like, I know, having a camera and just taking pictures around, and not necessarily thinking that one day, like, I'll take this hobby serious, like, as a career, And I remember in 2017, that's when I decided to, what, let me just go and register. But I've been doing, like, photography, like, from 2013, just practicing, having different mentors. But I was assisting a lot, like, in commercial spaces, yeah. And then after that, I think in 2017, that's when I decided, let me just take this thing serious. That's when I applied at the market for a workshop. Then I got accepted. Then I graduated, and then that's where everything started, And last year, I applied for. There was an open call last year. It was a media and advocacy mentorship program. And that's when I applied at the market for workshop. But already the 4Dladla project was, like, I already started it, like, in 2021 during the pandemic. Started the project there, but then I applied with the same project, just a continuation of it, just to have it, just for the project to be solid, and just having a mentorship, like, like a mentor around the project, and yeah, man, that's when the 4Dladla project came and or grew in a way, and because I cycle a lot.
Cycle.
Yes, I cycle a lot.
That's interesting.
With my bicycle. Yes. So the project started when all the time when I cycle, like, around my hood, Soweto, I notice, like, almost things, like, I see things differently,
Sure.
Like, when you're driving, you're seeing things differently. When you're walking, you're seeing things differently. When you're in a cycle, I mean, in a bicycle, you're seeing things differently. But what was interesting was, when using a bicycle, you can cycle and see something else, and then you turn back and just look at it again, and just have a different perspective. And then I'm like, okay, one day I'll come back maybe and photograph this. Then I go, and then there was this specific house that I saw. I think I didn't capture that house, I'm like, man, one day, maybe next week I'll come back, maybe.
Which part
surprisingly enough,
by the way, just
sorry?
Which part of Soweto is this house?
So I cycled every part of Soweto. Yeah. Okay. But the specific house that I saw, it was in Naledi,
Okay.
So I passed and I saw it, and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll come back. And then when I came back, the house was renovated. It was being renovated, So that structure, that whole structure, the 4-room structure that I saw was demolished. So I'm like, oh my God, like, then that's when the idea came together. I need to capture these houses, because for me, these houses are very, very, very iconic, because I think, I'm not sure, but maybe 70% of Black people, like, grew up in those houses, in those 4-room houses.
It
might not be you. Okay.
Yeah, man, that's actually, you actually getting to a point that I think we must actually like to unpack, like a bit in detail. Can we just take let me just sum up, or rather how I like what you in cycling, you sort of viewing the different stories around Soweto. That's actually quite interesting. So I'd like to know your thought process, like, about behind that. Firstly, like, why cycling as opposed to driving or walking or whatever, and like this is interesting, man. So with photography these days, and like I always wanted to ask a photographer this. Actually, I mean, I know that the photography industry has changed a lot because of the cell phone, because everyone can take photos. So I guess like the question is like, what is, and I think it's more of a technical question more than anything. So when you like you said, when you're cycling and you conceptualize all these images, how are you technically, putting it together? Given that like, somebody, just a random person could take the image.
The process
Yeah,
is,
sure. That
for me, it's about light. Remember, I was a photographer before I went to the market photo workshop, and then at the market photo workshop, you are being taught like technical stuff, like light, shadows, composition, and all of that, and time of day. What importance is. I think the importance of photography is especially when you're not using artificial light like your flash and whatnot. It's time of day. So in my process is there are some houses that were nicely lit during sunrise, and some they were nicely lit during sunset. So that was the thought around that and the technical aspect of that, because you just need to know your settings. Because yes, everyone can come with a phone and just take a picture, but with a camera, you need like specific settings. So my thought was I was just more let me see what can I use? I was more observant of the light specifically.
interesting.
So yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting, like shadows and things. But I wanted to find out, sorry, just to take it back a bit. When you went to the market theater workshop, the program.
Market photo workshop.
Hey?
Market photo workshop.
Photo workshop. Did I say theater? Oh gosh.
Yes.
I'm a literature person.
No, I can see why you make a mistake.
But anyway, like how do you like become part of those programs? And was it something that you had to fund for yourself, or you were funded?
Okay. Because I was assisting a lot before I went there, so I saved up a little bit of money, because I did a research before to see how much were the fees, and all of that. So I had to self-fund myself. But even with that, when you go to the institution, there's an option of a bursary. So yeah, it's up to you if you want the bursary, or you want the full-on bursary, or half bursary, or So there's So I self-funded myself.
Oh, okay. No, and that's really dope. I mean, for me, I'm asking because I'm always concerned with access. Are we able to access this art that we're creating? Because I believe that it's only us who's gonna buy our art and who's gonna give value to our work, because it becomes a part of us and our lifestyle. That's why I was excited about also your exhibition, just documenting the houses, Sasekasi. You won't believe it. When I came to the Northern Cape, Olive Schreiner's home was there. And, different people stayed there. Olive Schreiner, I mean, she's a very serious writer, very old writer. She challenged the white power in place at that time. But her house, one day I go back and it's disappeared. Like, it's gone. There's no house. There's no structure. Like, the house is gone. And I'm like, oh, here just a few days ago, So I think it's interesting how you capture memories through film. And I just wanted to find out, does it have anything to do maybe with your view of the world, since you are living in the city, you are a permanent resident there? I mean, you cycle around it. Is it because you are a part of it, and why? Because like, sorry. I'm always drifting. I have a lot to say, but like,
No, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, Siza.
But also with the thing that you did, yeah, you're recycling those guys from Lesotho. I mean,
Okay.
that's another storytelling. I mean, that's another story, Nje, that we haven't even started tapping into. Yeah, so I wanted to say, can you also talk about that project of documenting the deaths?
Yeah, I mean, let's start about the Lesotho, So growing up, now I'm giving away my age now, you know.
So don't worry, brother. We all got gray hairs, yeah.
Just growing up, guys.
So I remember, I don't know, Siza, or you, Wesley, maybe you might know this. I remember growing up as a kid, there was this, there used to come this van called a banana car.
Banana car, yes, I know banana car.
Yeah, we used to give, exchange with
chips.
Yes, we'd steal bottles, you know, Coca-Cola bottles, and then we give that guy, then he give us chips, and then, you know. So when I saw these guys that are collecting our dirt, like even in Jersey, and like I think they're everywhere now, you know, it kind of reminded me of the banana car. And I was like, wait, it's the same thing, actually, you know, because banana car was doing recycling in a way, but back then we didn't know it was recycling. I think, maybe we were never exposed to this career or maybe this kind of job, recycling. We only thought that these guys are taking bottles, empty bottles, then they're giving us.
But actually, a way of living, right? Because recycling is about protecting the environment and taking care of Mother Nature and giving back to Mother Nature. Yeah. Banana car is such a sweet memory. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, man. So I think there was, in my title, I call them township cleaners, because before they came, you would pass like the township, like there was certain spaces where you pass, and there was dirt, and you know, and it was just filthy. But now, as this recycling thing like became a thing, like, and seeing more of these guys, then you see which shop, like there's some little like some parts of Soweto where they are being cleaned because they're picking up things, boxes, bottles, and so I think that's how the project started. And even that project, I was using my bicycle cycling around, you know, and then I began to know which the pick it up, the waste collectors. What days do they come? You know, so for instance, maybe in Naledi they come like on Mondays. Then in Zola maybe they come on Tuesdays. Then in other parts they come on Wednesdays. So I would cycle around, you know, knowing if I go to Zola maybe on a Tuesday, I know I'll find these guys, you know, searching for these empty cans, empty water. So that's how the project started. And I don't know.
That's very interesting. That's super interesting. Like, I've seen a few photographers document those I call them waste collectors. I think this is an interesting point for our listeners, you know, from the international audience. These guys are like serious part of the inner city, or the, you know, in this case, a township ecosystem. They are actually the best recyclers. They actually do. I think actually the way the city treats them is quite a huge disservice. Firstly, there's no allocated lanes for them, and I know people always get frustrated because, you know, these things they get are usually big, and that's what if you're driving to go, that usually causes traffic. So I understand the frustration around that, but like I always thought, like they are definitely undervalued. Man, just a sort of a question on that. Like, I saw you just a sort of a technique from a technical eye. You do a lot of portraits of them. Are you trying to tell their story, or are you trying to show us their processes, their value, or are you trying to tell us who they are?
Actually, I'm trying to tell their story because when I photograph some of them, of course, they don't want to be photographed. So
Yeah,
it's a matter
I
of
can believe that.
so it's a matter of I need to negotiate with the actual person and just have like an interview where he's comfortable, or the actual person that I'm interviewing is comfortable enough to to share like his experience. So part of that, it's just me trying to tell their story, because when I did like a few interviews with the guys, like most of them, they come from Soweto, sorry, from Lesotho, you know,
Yeah.
and I mean, we know the economic, yeah, go to Soweto, like there's and then they just come here to just to make means, so it's just, I remember there was this one guy that I did an interview, and he told me like the amount of money that he's making with this recycling thing, and then that he has to send it back home, to feed his family, So it like I'm not out there just stealing images, just looking at someone. That first I need to go and communicate, so that even the gaze, when I take portraits, you can see the gaze, which there was a communication.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's actually quite beautiful. I just have a sort of a follow-up question there. When you say into getting to know your subject matter, I know as a visual artist, I know as a poet too, Siza, like you need to know what you're writing about. You need to know what you're drawing about. So that process, like getting to know these guys, does it affect you in any way? Does it change you in any way? Does it move you in any way?
Yeah,
I mean, for me, it did, because I kind of looked like I kind of look like into things like in a different way, because where I'm from, like I'm from Soweto, and then I've been comfortable like in my own space, in my own skin, and in my and then now doing an interview on someone that is from Lesotho, he had to go through like a lot just to get here, and then when he got here, he didn't find the job that he was dreaming of, and then he had to opt for that kind of a job, or I don't know what can I call it, if so it kind of changed me and just showed me how privileged I am, so it kind of shifted me like in a way of like my thinking around other things changed, and I used to visit Lesotho like a lot, so I kind of related just a little bit with their story, because like I would go to the rurals, then I would just see like how people are living there, like in Lesotho, So yeah, man, it kind of shifted my perspective.
Yeah, because for me also, Hoek, it's that you giving dignity to the people, because they are nobodies. I think also just capturing their face and their story tells a story. And I believe in this so much that, do you believe in Soweto when they had those bicycle lanes, from Lapang around Vilakazi? I thought they were for them. I thought they were making provision for the recyclers, because I mean they need their own lane. I mean that shows them really pushes those. Yeah.
No, I don't think. Honestly, I think it wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, I know it wasn't for them. It was for. I might be wrong, but remember when they did that second lane in Soweto, the tourism industry was booming in Soweto. You had like a lot of tourists then coming with bicycles and cycling Soweto around, and then they just made like a specific cycling lane where the tourists would go, like your Vilagazi, your Nelson Mandela, so your Hector Peterson Memorial. So I think it was just for that, because when you look at the whole of Soweto, like if you go to Naledi, that lane is not there. Zolandeni,
Mm.
Jablani, other parts of Soweto, it's not there.
Those
So it's specifically
bicycle
there.
lanes is actually
Yeah.
quite political. I
Everything
think it's
is
actually quite,
so
it's very
political.
political. It shows
Yeah,
you
man.
that that lanes is
Yeah.
not for, it was for people with money,
Yeah,
specific people with
yeah,
money
man, yeah,
from
man, yeah, man. It's
America
not
and from Europe.
exactly, you
It's
know, it's
actually,
not for everyone.
it shows you
Yeah,
that they
I mean,
have the resources to actually build those lanes. They can do it. It's
they
just that,
can do it.
They
Yeah.
can do it.
I
I
mean,
mean, it would even be nice to make bicycles affordable anyway for people to use.
exactly.
It's good for the health. It's good for the
Yeah.
especially
ecosystem.
with high fuel costs, many people will
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
that is a pretty decent option. I know I
So,
would.
so I think regarding that, like, I think the Caesar asked me, Witty, oh, it was you, Wesley, who asked me, Witty, why the bicycle, not the car. You know?
Yeah.
So it's about that as well. I think, you know, like with the car, like you have to put in fuel and then go around
Yeah.
Soweto, and most of these projects are self-funded, you know. So I don't want something that will drain me, you know, because it will drain me financially, emotionally. I want, like, I'll be drained, and then me producing what I want, like, it will be difficult because now I have to worry about this, I have to worry about that. But with using a bicycle is just easy, man, you know. And I can stop anytime, I can stop anywhere, I can, even if when there's traffic, it doesn't really affect me. Even if there's a roadblock, it doesn't even affect me. So I think it's much easier
It's
for me
actually,
to cycle
it's actually
around,
quite an
you know?
interesting metaphor. And I
Yeah.
think it actually works. It speaks also to health and well-being. It also speaks to
Exactly.
a part of this new, I wouldn't call it, I don't like this woke culture. I don't like that word, but it is sort of part of that, like, you know, using like public as opposed to like a fuel guzzling vehicle, you know, and like the point you raised early on about the light, I thought that was really interesting because I know if you're on a bike, if you're in a car, you physically in a thing,
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually, there's actually prejudice behind the windows and such. The bike, you actually like physically there, so I'm sure you see things different.
So I think, and then with me, of course, cycling around, then that concept of the exhibition, of course, came together.
Yeah, I was gonna come to that.
Yeah, and so applied, of course, and then I think the program is being funded by what we call OSF. So OSF, it's an organization. It's called Open Society Foundation South Africa. So they're the ones who made it possible, who funded the project. So they funding the market photo workshop,
Okay.
and then
yes,
and then as a recipient of the mentorship, you get like a little bit of funding for you to cycle around, or maybe for you to grow your project. And then with that comes your own choice, your mentor. You know, you get to choose who you want to be mentored by. You know, so I was lucky to be accepted, you know, to be mentored by a wonderful guy called Lawrence Limawan. Yes, Lawrence Limawan.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, so he was my mentor, and I mean, even now, like, he's still my mentor, you know, because like our relationship like grew, you know, from being a mentor to a brother, you know, and then the project started. So like these houses, why the 4Dladla project? You know, 4Dladla project for me, it's very important because I personally I grew up there, and you know, like getting to share like a 4-room house with your siblings and you know, like maybe you find yourself like by 20, you know, living like in one space, you know, and then of course we grow, then we can afford, some they leave, some they extend the houses. Yeah, so with that, I think I'm just capturing these houses for archival stuff, you know, because I'm imagining 10 or 20 years from now, these houses will be
Gone.
vanished
Yeah,
or
we totally
gone.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, because like more people now are starting to renovate these houses, you know, to bigger houses, of course, and more people are just maybe buying houses maybe in the suburbs and whatnot, you know. So I think for me, it's important to capture these houses because for me they're very iconic, and I want the future generation to relate, you know. If maybe 10 years, 20 years, I can say maybe to my daughter, like, hey, you know, we used to live like in a 4-room house. And then if she's like, no, then I'm like, okay, here are the images.
And the
So,
stories
and
from those, yeah.
yes,
Stories that
you
come
know,
from those houses, yeah.
and this 4Dladla project for me, it's like I wanted to create like conversations, you know, around these 4-room houses. I mean, we all know which is these 4-room houses where were not built or they were not meant for people to stay or to live in them.
Very
You know?
political, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, so I think with this project, like I want to have like conversations whereby we start to unpacking like the impact of these houses,
yeah,
and how they were constructed and why they were constructed, you know. And again,
okay, on that point, I wanted to ask you if you're doing any collaborations, you know, to continue this conversation around these houses. Because I'm just thinking, Wes, I've got a poem called Houses. Like I love talking about these.
I've actually, as he was talking,
Yeah.
the image of all these houses, Soweto made me think of the cover of think of your book actually.
Yeah, yeah. Because you know, do you collaborate with other like art forms? Because I like to collaborate with poetry and poetry.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like I'm open for collaborations because there's one collaboration that I'm planning to do with other few people, but I haven't had like proposals or maybe someone approaching me, you know, who would say, oh, can we collaborate with you, like, you know, but I have like this only one person that is willing to, you know, so I think we'll have a meeting and just speak about it. But I mean, I'm keen to collaborate with anyone, you know. I mean, this is not only my story, this is our story, understand? And I mean, if you look at Soweto, the landscape of Soweto has changed, you know, like as opposed to back then. Like I'm looking at, like I've been doing like a lot of research, just like looking at some images of Soweto and comparison to the images that are shot now. Like the landscape has changed. So what I'm trying to say is, as much as the 4Dladla, it's I can say as much as it's my project, but it's not my project. It's a communal thing. You understand? Because I've been exposed to these communities, like cycling around to Pinkville, cycling around to Mzimhlope, White City, and meeting people, you know, like sitting down, doing interviews. So it's a communal thing. So this is not only my project. Like with collaboration, like I would be more than happy for people to come and jump in, you know, so that we collaborate, because this is a communal thing. You know, this is not only my project, you know.
Yeah.
So let me actually make a follow.
Like I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy. Okay.
So where can the viewers get hold of the work? You know, basically, like where is it available online? You know, what type of catalog is there, and are the prints for sale? And if so, you know, who do they contact? You know, who's the person, who's the go-to guy for that?
The work is still up at the market photo. So the show opens on the 8th of November. I mean, so of October. That was last week Saturday. There is an opening, but the show is still running. So it's from the 8th until the 4th of November.
All right.
Yes. So if you want to access, you can go to the Market for Workshop, and it's both galleries, by the way. Sorry, like I forgot to mention this. So it's both galleries. So I'm showing in both galleries, at the Market for the Workshop gallery You can just come from Monday till Saturday because Sundays they're not open on Sundays, so you can only access the gallery from Monday until Saturday. You know, and yes, prints are up for sale. Then you can direct me, you can contact me directly, you know, on my email, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, so you can DM me, maybe then, you know, then tell me which image you want, what size, you know, frame, you know, then we can, it's I don't know if did I miss one other thing, I don't know.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
We're really excited about the work because,
here
in Lexcia, we really love to celebrate ourselves and our memories, that nostalgia, because it's linked to who we are. And so knowledge of self is important in the growth, of society, we believe. So, we'll check it out, guys. Please go through to the Market Photo workshop. The exhibition ends on the 4th of November, but also get hold of our brother. It's Hoek Swarathe.
Yes.
Swarathe with an E, but we'll also put the info in. Thank you so much for making the time and sharing your art.
It was lovely, man.
Yeah, man, and all of this with the exhibition.
Speaking to you guys.
Man,
thanks.
For sure, man. Thanks for coming through the platform. All the best with the exhibition. All the success, my king. And hopefully, some guys will you'll get a new audience of this podcast. And remember, we're on AfriPod as well. That network, check us out on there. Yeah, it's we actually wanna. If in a perfect world, we'll just make content for African people because I think we're such a beautiful people. I think, but not that I'm saying we are hating anybody from outside of the other continent, but Africa first. So check us out on there on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, on all the social media platforms, and thanks for coming through this week.
Thank you for checking us out. We'll see you guys next week. Tando Lord, one love.
All right, sure.
Bye, guys.